Hi and welcome back. I'm really glad that you're here with us today. We've got an important topic to talk about: planning for the meeting. Now, before we get started, I just want to first apologize for missing last week. None of us are perfect, and in sales we need to remember that we're always going to make mistakes. I made one last week and just got so busy that I didn't get the post done. But the important thing to know in sales is when to admit that you were wrong, to apologize to the client, and try to make things better. That's all you could truly do, and your client will truly appreciate your honesty. Now, let's get to today's topic, because planning a meeting is critical. You have worked tirelessly. You've made prospecting calls and you're sending emails. You finally made it through the dial by name jungle and reached the correct contact. They are qualified and have agreed to a meeting. You are now headed to the pinnacle of the sales process, the in-person meeting. How did you prepare? Did you prepare? I have seen so many meetings go horribly wrong, and the primary cause is lack of preparation. Let's look at a typical meeting scope. It usually goes something like this. The salesperson meets the prospective client with a quick hello and an introduction. This is followed by a barrage of, "I do this and that, and we are the best at what we do, and our company has the most luxurious offices and the most inventory, and we carry the best products," and blah, blah, blah. Here's what you're missing. Number one, about 30 seconds into your dissertation, the prospect's eyes have glazed over. Number two, the prospect is thinking about what's for lunch. And number three, the prospect is probably daydreaming about their upcoming vacation or holiday. At the end of the meeting, the prospect is likely to say something like, "Well, that sounds great. We'll be in touch when we have an item you can quote." You leave happy as a lark, thinking, "Boy, that meeting went great." And you will be clueless in 6 months when you haven't heard from this prospect, and worse, they now won't even answer your phone calls or your emails. The end result was they didn't hear a word you said, because you're no different than the last 10 salespeople that showed up to call on this prospect. You didn't utter a word about the most important thing in the world to that prospect. What's in it for me? Here are some items to consider. When thinking about a meeting, number one, what outcome do I want? Number two, what does the client need to accomplish? Number three, who are the stakeholders? For C-suite, where will our solution move you forward? For level 1 contacts, how will the solution work and save them time? Number 4, who do I need to assist me on this call? Do I need to take an executive, a product specialist, an engineer, a factory rep? Number 5, what questions do I need to ask? Who's on the team? What are the goals of the team? Number 6, anticipate what questions they will have for me, so my answers are prepared. Number 7, what are the next steps? This is critical. You must schedule the next step on both your calendar and on your client's calendar. Otherwise, you risk the chance of being ghosted. Number 8, what's the next communication? Is it going to be a phone call or a meeting? And as I said, is it scheduled before you leave this meeting on both your and your client's calendar? Number 9, commitments needed to close the sale. What little pieces do you need to get a commitment from them on to finally close this sale? At a minimum, each of the above should be planned for in your initial meeting. I've found the easiest way to accomplish this is by completing a meeting planner for every meeting that I'm going to attend. In most sales processes, multiple meetings will be required, and each will have its own special goal. The point is, every meeting should have a goal. Initially, that will include the above. Subsequent meetings will have different questions and conversation points since you've already received answers to the above. For example, you know who is on the team, but you may need to check to see if someone has been added or deleted from that team. You know the goals, but have any of these changed or have they been refined? Here's two different approaches. We've got a collaborate or a shock and awe. I've seen different theories from different trainers regarding how to include the client in your meeting. Several have suggested a collaborative effort. This is where you would actually send your client a meeting agenda prior to the meeting. I like this approach as it shows a tremendous display of professionalism, and they have likely not seen this from any of your competitors. On the other hand, other approaches lean toward a shock and awe, which you could take the meeting in a totally different direction than your competitors would choose. Here's an example. I like to use the shock and awe approach in the initial meeting when I'm working on a capital sale. I recently met with several individuals at a plant that included engineers, management, and maintenance. After introductions, I informed them that I was not on site to sell them new equipment today. This was the shock and awe, a direction they did not expect and had not seen from my competitors. One of the engineers then asked, "If you're not here to sell me new equipment, why did you show up? Are you going to propose?" I could not have scripted his statement any better. We all laughed, but I responded, "Of course not. This is our first date, and nobody proposes on the first date. I'm here today to learn more about your system and what your goals, ultimate goals, will be for new equipment. From that point, I can determine if I'm best suited to help you meet those goals." But, I told them, once we've had a few dates and I've gotten to know you, and if I feel like I am best suited to help you, then I am going to propose at that time. Because you see, if I'm the best suited to help you, then we're going to get married. They looked at me like I was crazy. I told them, if I'm best suited to help you, and you eventually choose my solution, then my equipment will be a key component in your plant for the next 25 to 50 years. You will call on me when you need maintenance or when you have a problem, so it's very much like a marriage. You have to know you can depend on me and my company, and that we work well together for the next few decades. For this reason, we all better be damn sure we like each other. We all had a great laugh over the conversation, but my point was made. One of my primary focus points is not how much the initial investment is for my equipment, but how well I communicate and make sure my clients are cared for after the sale. From this point, we were able to drill down on what they truly needed. Initially, it was just new equipment. That was the goal. But, as we discussed in a previous post, great questions get you to the end game. So, here's how it went. Me. Well, why do you want new equipment? Client. Our existing equipment is old. Me. Well, it still runs though, right? Client. Yes, but it requires a lot of maintenance. Me. All equipment requires maintenance, right? Client. Yes, but our current vendor is really expensive and not very reliable. Me. Well, what do you consider expensive, and what does reliability mean to you? The client said, well, they charge like $100 an hour, and sometimes it takes 5 or 6 phone calls to get them here. And then they don't have the parts in stock, so it takes another 2 to 3 weeks to get up and running again. I respond, well, we charge way more per hour than that. More shock and awe. The client says, well, maybe you're not the right fit for us. And I respond, maybe. But it only takes 1 phone call to get us on site, and we will have the parts on the service truck, so in the end, it will cost less to use us. the client says, well, maybe you are the right fit for us. And the end result, I learned the client did not want new equipment. They want a reliable, cost-effective service to keep the plant running. I even offered to maintain their current equipment for them. They responded, but then you wouldn't sell anything. My response to them, remember, I told you early in this meeting I wasn't here to sell anything. I'm here to find out what you need. You don't need new equipment, but in the event you choose to buy new equipment, let's discuss what other advantages you might gain from that. Now, to recap today, we've talked about 3 important items. Number 1, work your sales process. Number 2, plan your meetings. And number 3, ask the right questions. Planning your meeting could be the difference in a professional appearance and making the sale, or by not planning, you can look just like your competition. Which would you prefer? To get you started, I've added a meeting planner template in our free resources area. I hope you find it helpful, and you can just click over to our free resources area and download that template. Leave me a comment on how you plan your meetings, or jump over to the Facebook group and join in the conversation at facebook.com/salesexpedition. One final thing, if you have not already subscribed, I would consider it a personal favor if you would jump over to our sign up page, just enter your name and email address. It only takes a few seconds, and it truly helps me to connect with you at a greater level. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I can't wait to get back next week, same time, same place. Until then, create great value for everyone you meet.